Welcome to Hey Dr. Sue. So people submit their sex questions to me anonymously, and once a week I post one question and one answer. Do you have a sex question you've always wanted answered? Go ahead and check out the description for information on how to submit it anonymously. This week's question is, do you think that the standards for men in media affects them the same way they affect women? This is a great question, and unfortunately, because I'm doing this on audio and not visual, you can't see all my air quotes, so just try to imagine they're there every time I say things like normal or acceptable or should. Media teaches us what's normal and acceptable. This includes everything from acceptable behavior for our gender to how we should act in our relationships. It also includes what body types are seen as desirable. If you ask most people if they're influenced by media, they probably would say no. But look at how many trends are driven by media and social media. This is everything from fashion trends to TikTok dances. We know the impact that media can have on people. We know that eating disorders and disordered eating could be tied to trying to fit into this ideal body type that's represented in media. For a long time, we focused on women and eating disorders and the impact of media. Now we're starting to get a better understanding of how the media's portrayal of, quote, an ideal man affects men. We're finally starting to acknowledge that men have been underdiagnosed in the past for eating disorders. We now know that the rates of eating disorders and disordered eating are increasing faster in boys and men than they are in girls and women. I'm not saying that all of this is tied solely to media, but media definitely plays a role. Media also tells us what's considered acceptable behavior for our gender. Think about the last TV show or movie you watched. How are the men portrayed? Were they seen as tough and not willing to get help? Were they praised for that kind of behavior? This kind of depiction helps to reinforce the idea that men need to act the same way in real life. It's one of the reasons why they suffer in silence when they're feeling anxious or depressed. It contributes to why they're less likely to reach out to anyone for help, whether that's friends or family or partners or a healthcare professional. Media also shows us that men are supposed to always want sex, and that's just not true. I've worked with men who feel guilty when they're not in the mood for sex, and they often are afraid to talk to their partners about it. They think their partners will think that them not wanting to have sex in that moment means that they don't find the partner attractive. Think of it this way. If Abby was taught that men always want sex and her male partner doesn't want to have sex with her, then it's easy for Abby to think that there's something wrong with her or that there's something wrong with the relationship. Her partner may feel like he has to have sex with her in order to avoid a fight or to not make her feel bad. And we often don't talk about this side of it. There's quite a bit out there about women saying no when they're not in the mood, but then saying yes to just kind of get it over with. But can you think of any time you've seen a scenario where it was the man who wasn't in the mood? And if it was in media, was it a punchline? The good news is that we're starting to see some changes in how media portray all genders, but it's important that we start having discussions about this. As rare as good sex education is in this country, the same can be true for media literacy. Did you ever take a class that taught you how to break down the messages you were seeing in movies and on TV? Without that kind of education, it's easy to not understand the impact that the images have on us and those around us. And were you taught any type of porn literacy? That's a type of media that can impact how we think and feel about specific sexual behaviors. But that's a whole other issue and outside the scope of this video. If you want me to talk about it though, feel free to submit an anonymous question. Until next time, be safe and have fun. Did you like that video? If so, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when new videos come out. Also check out the description to find out how to find me on Instagram, Medium, and Twitter. And make sure to check the description for links where you can submit your sex question.